just that drive alone, we knew we couldn't give it back to them. And for us to be able to execute when we really needed to, I mean, that was obviously something we haven't done all year. And to be able to execute and see it kind of come all into fruition, I think that was the biggest thing for us. And it was an amazing feeling.
Well, if you thought 45-0 was the worst thing you'll see in LA this season, not so fast, my friends. The Jets are winless no more. We will not be ramming it today after a Goffle performance, the one-win New York Jets. But it brings so many more questions to the table for that franchise, because it's not about just winning a game right now. The question is, what's the best thing for that team over the next 5 years? What it do? Welcome into the opening drive. If you ever wondered what it was like, when the Pirates took over the ship from the captain, you're going to find out right now. We've got JJ Buck, Micah back producing. You can watch us on ProView Networks, J Pole and Josh. You can stream us on Facebook. You can watch on Comcast Channel 26. And boy, we have a full show for you today. Saturday was such an amazing day. It's been a hard year for so many people. And we're sitting there over the summer wondering, what is the fall going to be like? What are sports going to look like? Saturday was a day that most of you probably didn't do a whole lot this week. And so if you're on your couch, you had Gonzaga and Iowa, you had conference championship games, you had NFL football, and it was just a complete weekend of so much to get to. We got reaction to the college football playoff, the top four, conference championship Saturday, and of course the games on Friday night. The NFL season, in which every single weekend something new happens. Yes, we're going to dive into that New York Jets team, what happened to the Los Angeles Rams. So we got to start with the marquee game in the afternoon and what could potentially be a Super Bowl preview between Kansas City and New Orleans. The return of Drew Brees, who did look like an old man with hurt ribs throughout the first half. Started the game the worst he has ever started, 0 for 5 completions. And you're sitting there wondering, all right, was this too soon? Does this guy have what it takes to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs? But you saw a Saints defense that is championship caliber. It's conference winning type of defense. But that's the thing with this Kansas City Chiefs team. And Patrick Mahomes said it after the game. They can win in multiple ways. And with how good New Orleans was playing yesterday, Kansas City still had a lead in that contest. Kansas City still found a way to win. Now, the Saints came back. Drew Brees made some better passes in the second half. I think you have to believe moving forward, he's someone that is going to be able to put that team in position to be the best team in the NFC because they have the best defense in the conference. Can they play complementary football? You saw a better response in the second half, but of course found out no Michael Thomas. He went on the IR for the rest of the season with an ankle injury as they tried to hail him up and get him ready for the playoffs. So what we saw in that game is everything you want to see in the postseason. Kansas City finding a way to win. I think Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate eraser in the NFL. No matter what's going on, that team is going to find a way. And you saw it again, whether it was the chest pass touchdown to Travis Kelce, under pressure all day long. And I think that's the thing that really impresses me with the New Orleans Saints is how they can get there with their front four. They can play coverage in the back end, and they made life hard on Patrick Mahomes yesterday. And yet it was still a day in which Kansas City finds a way to win that contest, 34-24 in New Orleans. So does that change maybe the way you feel about the NFC, even in a loss for the New Orleans Saints with the return of Drew Brees in this contest, knowing the little ways that they can do things differently? We saw Taysom Hill involved, of course, goal line package, scoring a rushing touchdown. He was the backup quarterback and Swiss Army knife because Jameis Winston landed on the COVID list early Sunday morning. So your backup quarterback out there doing that thing again, in which he was your starting quarterback, but now he's your H-back because that is just the Saints and what they do with Taysom Hill. But also news with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, high ankle sprain. It looked much worse than that when he was going to the locker room. You're like, my goodness, this dude, is his season over? It could be, because usually this is 4 to 6 weeks, depending on who you are in the NFL when it comes to that high ankle sprain. But then you say, all right, Le'Veon Bell, pretty good insurance policy, but it still starts and finishes with that quarterback. Because in a day where the Saints D balled out, in a day you're watching going, yeah, this team can win the NFC, this team can be a challenge to anyone in the league, it was still that dude, when it came down to it, that made more plays in the end. So we'll get your thoughts on those two teams. Of course, now New Orleans, a game back, still right there pushing with Green Bay, who we saw on Saturday get by. It was cold in the frozen tundra, not a lot of excitement, just did their job, did the Packers over the Carolina Panthers 24-16. I know a lot of y'all are frustrated if you had Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams in your fantasy leagues because they didn't do a whole lot, but they found a way to win, to stay atop the NFC. And it's a race for the 1 seed. Only one team this year gets the bye week when it comes to the NFL playoffs, and it's a 7-team playoff. And speaking of Saturday, I'm interested in how y'all feel about this one. I'm watching the evolution of Josh Allen this season. Destroyed the Denver Broncos, went in there. Of course, a much better football team. It was 48-19, the first game on Saturday for Buffalo over Denver. Is that Patrick Mahomes light? Can you say that with Josh Allen? Is that a crazy thing to say? I'm watching a dude that has evolved. He's completing 68% of his passes. And the conversation with Josh Allen was, all right, the dude's got a rocket arm. But we've seen plenty of guys with a rocket arm in the NFL just be average dudes. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you throw it if you can't hit an open receiver or if you can't go through your reads. I think what we're seeing this season is a great evolution of an athlete that is turning into a quarterback. He can make crazy throws on the run. He can use his athleticism. He has 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. He's thrown for 4,000 yards. Of course, Patrick Mahomes, 4,462 yards, still leading the NFL in passing. 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Because I think that is the second best team in the AFC. Now, we'll see the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. How do they respond? They're favorites. This should be a comfortable victory, however you want to say what is comfortable in the NFL. So who thought they were comfortable yesterday? The Los Angeles Rams, and they lost to the New York Jets. So nothing is comfortable in this league. However, it's one where the Steelers should handle their business against the Bengals, but yet I still think the second best team in the AFC is the Buffalo Bills because of the evolution of one Josh Allen. And when we're thinking about teams in the AFC, it's not just who can play good defense, because as we've seen, this Kansas City team responded to that challenge yesterday against the Saints, is you got to score. You got to think of Kansas City like Alabama and what we saw in the SEC championship game. It wasn't, oh, you got to go in there with a great defense, because you're not slowing them down. You're not. You want to have a chance, maybe get off the field a little bit. But Florida's chance came because they're a really good offense, and not many teams can score like that against Alabama. So that's where I'm really looking at Buffalo. And if Josh Allen is indeed Pat Mahomes light, you got to be able to score with this team. And do you have that feeling when you look at this Buffalo team, the evolution, Josh Allen at quarterback, Stephon Diggs, like 11 for 147, moving the football around, Cole Beasley underneath. Is this a dude you can believe in that can challenge the Kansas City Chiefs? Because I think he has taken that step this season. You're looking at the second best team in the AFC and a quarterback that can go toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Because I think that is the way you beat this team, even in the postseason, is you got to be able to score touchdowns. Crazy, right? Score points to stay in the game. But I think that's what Kansas City can do. I think there's intriguing teams. Tennessee's been explosive. Ryan Tannehill did it again this weekend. Yeah, it was the Detroit Lions, but another multi-touchdown game for Ryan Tannehill, not just through the air, but on the ground. Derrick Henry, is a recipe, try to ball control against Kansas City. But I think right now, looking forward, Buffalo is a team that has the best chance against Kansas City in the AFC. But we have so much to get to looking at the NFL, talking about the Jets over the Goffle Rams this weekend. The cockroaches of the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys. If you're watching us on ProView Networks, the Goodwill hat is out. The Cowboys jersey is on for Micah. He's feeling it because somehow, some way, they did it again. And Dallas is right there in the worst division in football. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because if you get to the postseason, the last 2 times, a team with a losing record that went to the playoffs won a game, right? So it's all about getting in. So we got so much to get to today. Quan's Auto Care hotline is 246-0610. You can email the show, send them to me, because Jeff's busy with a bowl game. By the way, it's New Mexico Bowl week in Frisco, Texas. 2020, right? But so Jeff is focused on the bowl game, heading out there, getting that done this week. Hawaii versus Houston. Of course, we'll check in with Jeff Siembieda throughout the week, but excited. I know it's been such a challenge for them to get that game going on, but Christmas Eve, we'll get a chance to sit down and watch the New Mexico Bowl and see our state featured in a different way from Toyota Stadium out there in Frisco, Texas. But when we come back on the other side, Lobo basketball begins Mountain West play tonight in Boise State. What are your expectations for this team over the next 3 days? We'll talk some Mountain West basketball, specifically Lobo men. That is next. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wildcat. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Webskowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the 3rd. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's gonna go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
They'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagle.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's gonna.
Over the next 3 days. So what are your expectations, not for the season, but right now, for Lobo basketball in these 2 games against Boise State? What it do, everyone? Opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Micah, J Pole, Josh holding it down on ProView Networks. You can watch the show Comcast Channel 26. Stream us on Facebook. You can search ProView Networks. Also find us facebook.com/theod in the AM. And you can also participate, comment while you're watching the show. If you would like to do that, you can send an email, jj@610knml.com. Find me on the Twitter. It's _JJ Buck as well, or 246-0610 Quan's Auto Care Hotline. So Lobo basketball played 3 games in Houston. Rice, Our Lady of the Lake, Laterno. Now it's on to Boise State. They got some game reps in last week. Now you're going to find out what kind of basketball team they are. My expectations are tonight's going to be challenging. It's a step up in competition, upper echelon of the Mountain West Conference. Boise State, and people feel that they're 2 behind San Diego State, which we'll talk about, by the way. San Diego State got beat by BYU over the weekend. I think tonight could be a struggle at times for the Lobos, but I do expect them to compete. And I think best case for New Mexico would be a split out of these 2 games, especially is not being able to get in the type of run against this type of competition you'd like. We knew there were going to be challenges with this season, so just getting on the court was a good thing to see for this team, just to start playing, to get an idea, specifically too about individuals. There's so many guys we have never seen play basketball, so for them to get on the court, start working together, at least start building chemistry in that fashion, that was important about Houston. But how they play against Boise State, I think a split is best case scenario. I think tonight there could be some challenging times, but you take your lumps, quick turnaround, and have a chance go to win a game at Boise State on Wednesday. So that's the way I'm feeling about this right now, because we just don't know how the Lobos are going to react. We know shooting-wise, they might have some issues. So against the Boise State team, that is going to be much bigger. Like, you're not setting a program record in rebounding here. It's going to be a challenge. Now, how are they going to react to that challenge? We're not rebounding over a bunch of 6-foot dudes. And then can you bring that mentality of the constant attack against a team that's going to defend you better, against guys that are going to be able to stay in front of you much better than what they saw last week? Because with this Lobo basketball team, its identity is going to be defense, rebounding, attacking the rim, because they have a bunch of long, versatile athletes. They shooting, they're going to have to hit some jump shots. So that is where, whether it is Francis, who I'm really intrigued about, just because he just seems like such a stable presence at the point guard position. Jeremiah Francis, the transfer from North Carolina. When you have, a Saquon Singleton, they've been playing both those guys sometimes in the backcourt, and you look at the other options, kind of Keith McGee in his shooting role coming off the bench. I think with Francis, the biggest thing is just going to be controlling the offense and the drive and kick, and maybe creating some of those opportunities, because the Lobos are going to live inside and live at the rim. Because when it comes to post play, Byron Matos, Valdir Manuel, these guys have good potential. They still got a long way to go in their development. So that is why I think tonight I expect the Lobos, the effort, the energy to be fine, but I think they're going to struggle at times just taking that big step up against Boise. So we're looking at, it's, you learn those lessons against a different D1 basketball opponent. You're seeing someone like Derek Alston, who's the preseason conference player of the year. He's averaging 15 points on the year. Take all that in just tomorrow, come out Wednesday, and we'll have a chance for the split. So I'm really interested in your thoughts on the mini series, like these mini tournaments that we're going to see throughout Mountain West play this season. 2 games in 3 days at one place. I think given all the massive questions that college athletics has faced, that pro sports have faced, that this was an intriguing way for teams to try to get in most of their games. I kind of like the decision that the Mountain West did. So it's a 20-game conference season, 2 games in 3 days at one place. And for the Lobos,
Jeff on the line.
Starts at Boise. The 246-0610, Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Early check-in. Jeff Siembieda, what is up, my man? How you doing? You ready for this?
I'm calling to take my lumps, man. I told you I would call. I'm very, 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 very happy I made it clear that I will be getting no stupid tattoos, because I've seen stuff like this happen way too much. But while I have a second before I get out of here, I'm here to take it. Sean, good win for you. And enjoy Sam Darnold for the next 5 years.
Right. That's one of the things I was going to ask. As awful as it was, the question now for the Jets, it's like, the next 5 years, you want Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold? Because now that's a real question.
Yeah, no, it was awful. And it's just amazing how that team can be so dominant one week and so awful the next. And that's why, 17 points was ridiculous, and I've seen it happen way too much. And this is a team that totally plays their – look at, what do they have, 5 losses? 2 to the Niners, who are bad, 1 to the Jets. It's silly. And to the Dolphins, I'm here to take it. I'll own it, and I'm getting no tattoos, which is the beauty of the whole thing. We can roll back that tape on Friday, right?
Yeah, that's a positive out of this. No tattoos for you, but that's just always the question, man. With Jared Goff, is this wasn't just a Goffle issue. I think it was a whole team that looked like, oh yeah, we practiced this week, but did you really take it seriously? Because from the opening series, the Jets were ready to play, and the Rams are definitely just going through the motions.
Yeah, the Jets ran it down their throats right from the outset. We talk about this all the time, about how teams play down to their competition, and how you can coach and coach and coach, but the players really hear it. And they played the Jets, and they didn't. It looked like a team that just went through the motions, and the Jets looked like a team that wanted to be there, and the Rams looked like a team that, well, we're here because we have to be. And we're moving on to Seattle, and we move on to Seattle a lot. It's just a horrible, embarrassing look for a Rams team that thought they were a contender, and they got knocked down to reality, man. It's horrible. It's historically horrible, and I think they'll bounce back. I think they're going to the playoffs. I think they're going to win a first-round playoff game. I do. Right now, they would get Washington, but really checks you who and what they are and what they are not, more so.
Right, it's the Rams experience. It's as bad as it is, and Sean McVay is like, no, that's embarrassing, and we have to take it. They'll probably look like the team we expect to see against Seattle. You know, the defense will be flying around. You'll be like, oh yeah, Jared Goff is feeling it, and that's always been the question, right? It's the hot and the cold. It's yes and the no of this Rams team.
Totally expect them to win next week. Totally expect them to beat Seattle. And Seattle's scuffling right now anyway, but totally expect that. But it's just this one, you know, I can't tell you I saw it coming. I absolutely would have taken, and I did in our picks, the 17 points for the Jets. And this is the kind of game the Rams don't play well in. And that's why there's no tattoos, Josh. You can put that tramp stamp on yourself, but I'm not taking that thing because I knew this was possible. But man, oh man, that sucked. How you feeling about the CFP? Did they get it right? You good with Notre Dame after getting just run out of the building and you get to do it again?
I think they did get it right, but boy, I don't know what else they could do at 4. You know, A&M obviously hit their ceiling. I think it's one of the things where we know what's going to happen, but still when it happens, it's like, what are we doing here? And it goes right back to like Cincinnati. Win your conference championship, you keep falling. Oklahoma gets up to 6, and it's a power conference world, and we're just all living in it, trying to get by.
Yeah, and I don't know that Cincinnati, if they would have won more convincingly, would have done anything. I mean, they win in a last-second field goal to beat Tulsa, who's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that would have done anything. You know, I'd like to see what San Jose State could have done in a long term. You know, in a long season, as far as the group of 5. But Oklahoma's got 2 losses, and if we're going to say body of work, then those 2 losses matter. A&M's got 1 good win, but they got beat by 4 touchdowns by Alabama. And after the Florida game, what have they done? And they didn't beat an SEC team with a winning record. So there was no clear cut. You're right, and so I guess they got it right. In the system, and I know, a lot of people are screaming, "We got to go 8, we got to go 8," and maybe we do. And so you'd had a second place team out of the North Pac-12 in the playoff, in Oregon, right? Because they won the Pac-12. It's just a weird year. This one, like, I don't know that we can make precedent in anything in life off of this year. Let's just say, all right, this was 2020. Let's go back and figure out how to do it better. Moving on, it feels like they got it right. It also feels like Notre Dame's going to get beat by 5 touchdowns by Alabama in the first semifinal.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone you could put at 4 right now that would be a single-digit underdog outside of the 2 teams on the other side. Because we saw the team that I think could play Alabama the best had no shot, because I think it's Florida. Because to play Alabama, it's not necessarily you need a good defense. You got to find a way to just try to score with them and put that kind of pressure on them.
And Trask can do that, and we saw it. I played with them the other night. It was actually a really entertaining game. So we just saw it. So that was a playoff into the playoff, right, for Florida. But they're a 3-loss team, and they lost to LSU, who was 3-5. So they can't go in. So there is no clear cut on this one. It's just a weird year, man. They're playing the Rose Bowl in Irving, Texas. I mean, the New Mexico Bowl's in Texas. The Rose Bowl's in Texas. It's just a weird year. It is what it is. Yes, all right, man. Go have fun. I wanted to come in and take my lumps because, well, I told you I would. Sean, you own me. Enjoy it. It was a bad one. It was awful.
Yeah, well, Jeff, stay safe, my man. I know we'll talk to you throughout the week, and good luck in Frisco.
All right, man, I appreciate it. Be well and have fun. See you.
Jeff Siembieda checking in, taking his lumps. We will not ram it today because of that Goffel performance. But it brings up very intriguing points about the college football playoff, which we will get into next, including one of those conference champions proving it can be done. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Heck about the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Creates space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it. Billy coming in soon, double pick set for Avalos, goes to the right, Avalos puts it up high, window, scores it as foul. Right here by Lewis, all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
San Jose State now seconds away from their first ever Mountain West Conference title. A throw that is incomplete from Hank Bachmeyer, and that will do it. San Jose State has finished their climb and firmly planted the Spartan flag on top of the Mountain West Conference. They have completed the perfect season, 7-0, and for the first time in program history, are Mountain West Conference champions.
It can be done, and it still matters even in a year like this, especially when you beat that team in the Mountain West title game. San Jose State victorious, their first ever championship game appearance, and a convincing victory over Boise State, 34-20 in Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, because that is where teams go when they don't have a home to finish the season, and San Jose State is victorious. It can be done. This was a San Jose State team that people wrote articles about. The conversation was, kick them out of the Mountain West Conference. What are they bringing to the table? The basketball teams are bad. The football team can't win. Let's just kick them out and bring someone else in. Well, guess what? Their football team is the best in the conference right now. So if you question, can you rebuild it? Can you recruit to this conference? Can you win at a high level? It absolutely can be done. The Spartans can do it. So can the Lobos.
Within a year, too. Within a year. I mean, we were just talking about San Jose State just still being the low tier.
We were totally wrong on the Spartans.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with Nick Starkel, but credit to Brennan. Within a year, just turned it around like that.
They've made progress. They've gotten better every year Brent Brennan has been there. We thought they'd be better, but no one was on this team as winning the Mountain West Conference. That's Micah, JJ Buck with you, of course, Pro V Networks, Jay Polt, Josh holding it down. You know, Micah, in our little podcast that we do, redshirt season, we both kind of, jumped on our man crushes this year, right? I was Team Carson Strong. You were Nick Starkel. But what impressed me about San Jose State is this team played the best defense in the conference too. And so as Starkel made his progression, I think he became a really efficient quarterback. That one touchdown he threw to Hamilton was fantastic. The catch and throw. It was a championship throw and a championship catch. So you jumped on, the Starkel bandwagon early. I think right out of the gate, they beat the Lobos first game of the season, and we're kind of like, okay, we thought that was much more about New Mexico than San Jose State at the time, and they just went on the rest of the way to keep getting better. But I got to give you credit because you have been on Nick Starkel in San Jose State. And I know last week we were both on the Spartans just because we've kind of been fed up with Boise State, but that was an impressive showing start to finish because they dominated that first half. They were held to 4 field goals. This game could have been ugly. So Boise State stepped up, made some big defensive plays because San Jose State almost ran away with this game in the first half. They should have, but it was a tight game, but big time plays from San Jose State from start to finish.
Yeah, and the thing is I wrote San Jose State off early in the season. We didn't expect them to be as good as they are now. But then those first couple games, I just watched Nick Starkel, and I was like, this kid he's doing something. And then as I watched this team, as I started to hop on that bandwagon for Nick Starkel in the first couple weeks, the team in and of itself started to sell me. Its defense, was just probably the best in the Mountain West, and then they played the best all around, offensively and defensively. And I mean, shoot, Boise State wants to leave the Mountain West. They can't even get the Mountain West title this year.
Yeah, and the new BYU is Boise State, the team you want to root against.
Yep.
So we had the Brian Hartson stuff, which came out back in September. Email surfaced because it's public record. You can request even emails from a head coach to the administration. It came out that when there was so much uncertainty surrounding college athletics, the Mountain West that at the time was like, we're not playing. Well, we're gonna play, but we're gonna push it back. Well, actually, we don't know. There were a lot of questions that no one could answer back then. And when Brian Harsin, head coach at Boise State, came out saying, they need to leave the Mountain West. They had to take their football program somewhere else. Get out of here with that mess, Brian Harsin. I understand you wanting to keep pushing your football program forward, but you are not better than the Mountain West. You are not getting into a power conference. Boise State has done some fantastic things on the football field, and they've backed it up, not just in non-conference games, but winning big-time bowl games. They are a brand that matters. But this whole look down on the entire conference, the way that fan base feels about the Mountain West, the way Brian Harsin feels about the Mountain West, you're not running away with it every single year. You got outplayed from start to finish. Yeah, you had a bunch of challenges this season. Raise your hand if you didn't. No one's hand is up right now. It's what we've seen across the sports world this year. And then after the fact, Boise State opts out of a bowl game. You know what? For the players, I'm not looking at them and saying, putting any of this on them. Boise State's had a challenging season. They've had a lot of COVID issues on their team. They've had a lot of games in which players were not available. And so I can understand it, teams opting out of bowl season this year. I can understand it from a player standpoint, as you've been locked in on football. It's a holiday season. It's different because you're not going to get to say have your family show up at a bowl game like usual. Like I can understand it. I'm not holding against the Boise State players as they opt out of bowl season, and we've seen so many bowls canceled this point in time. Like I get it. It's been a challenging year. If you want to have them, be able to go home a little bit, not in a situation of to come back in quarantine, worried about positive tests affecting the football game, I understand it. But from Brian Harsin's standpoint, the dude that was screaming they needed to leave the conference because they weren't playing football because they're so much better than this conference, and then you go out there and opt out of bowl season because you just got your tails handed to you between your legs when you walked out of that stadium against San Jose State. This is a bad look for Brian Harsin, everyone else. Boise State loves him. because, they think, yeah, he's taking us to a power conference and we're better than this junk that is the Mountain West. That ain't the case, man. You have to own this. It was a bad year for Brian Harsin. The team competed. I'll give him that. I'm not putting this on the players. I'm putting all this on Brian Harsin for how bad this looks. From wanting out because they could not play potentially to start the season to now not wanting to play because you got smacked around that football field.
Yeah, that's the bad look right there, is just opting out of the bowl game to play the better opponent that you said you can go and play with on a weekly basis in their conference, and then you just don't go play them, and then you can't finish out in your conference. Such a bad look.
So the new BYU, the team to root against. If you're not sure what to do, root against Boise State, because yes, the brand matters, and the Mountain West needs Boise State, and Boise State needs the Mountain West, because they're not going to the Big 12. You're not going to the Pac-12. You really think your life's going to be better in the AAC? How'd that work out for Cincinnati? There's a lot more challenges for Group of 5 teams right now than thinking you're going to be better in the AAC than in the Mountain West. It is, what do you do? What is the answer for a Group of 5 team within this system, which is so small at the top? Heck, look even at the power teams that are on the outside looking in when it comes to the elite of college football. But it was a great weekend for San Jose State, showing it can be done. If you believe in Danny Gonzalez and the Lobos, absolutely, they can climb that mountaintop. They can compete with Boise State. It's going to be really difficult. There's a lot of work to do. But Brent Brennan taking the San Jose State team from nothing, a team people wanted to kick out of the conference. There was articles. There's conversation over the last few years. Get them out. Bring someone else in. They're Mountain West champs, 7-0, and they did it beating Boise State. We come back on the other side. We're going to talk about the college football playoff. So there's a lot of loud noises, but no drama. So what can you take away from 2020? I think Jeff Siembieda, who joined us before he hopped on a flight to Frisco, Kirky, put it succinctly. And we'll talk about that, but I do think there are changes that have to happen in this system. We'll talk about that next. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer. OC. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess. He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
In. 19 seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch. Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Lawrence will go shotgun on 3rd and 1. Etienne behind him into the left-hand side. Off that left hash, fake the pitch. Lawrence going to run it. First down and more. Across the 30, he's off to the races. There goes Lawrence for 6. Into the end zone he goes, and Clemson extends the lead to 30-3 with 3:43 left. Third quarter.
Micah, a.k.a. Trevor Lawrence, with a great weekend. Clemson beats Notre Dame in the ACC title game, 34-10. Never in doubt. We knew that might look a little bit different. And it just wasn't going to be about Trevor Lawrence. It was going to be about the Clemson defense. And that is exactly how it played out on the football field. JJ Buck, Micah, J. Pole, Josh Holland down on ProView. You can stream us online, watch us Comcast Channel 26. You can comment while you watch the show on social media as well if you would like. Get your thoughts in. Quan's Auto Care hotline is 246-0610. You can email the show, jj@610knml.com. You can find me on Twitter. It's _JJBuck. Tons of ways to get involved with us this morning. So college football playoff is set. Like I said, there were a lot of loud noises, but no drama. It's Alabama at 1, Clemson at 2, Ohio State at 3, Notre Dame comes in at number 4. And really the question was, who else could you put at 4? It's not Texas A&M. They hit their ceiling. You beat Florida. Fantastic. That was all you had. And this is a year that you had to pick apart every win. Like, some teams only had 2 good wins. A&M had 1 good win. It's just the way it was. You didn't have any other chances for marquee victories this year. So that is the one thing with 2020 is you can't look at the system and be like, we need to change everything, because it was such a weird year. But there are inconsistencies and things that you can pick out when it comes to the college football playoff that are wrong, that need to change. And it's not sitting here going, well, who else would you put in at 4? Yeah, whoever is there is going to be a heavy underdog to Alabama. It's just the way it is right now. Whether you put A&M, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, they're going to be an underdog. It's about a system in which the selection of the teams doesn't make sense. Like, I'm tired of this debate, which we're going to have it, but that doesn't really go anywhere. Like, just give me an 8-team playoff. Yes, I'm stuck on that because I want to know at least, all right, 5 power conference teams. I don't care if it is Oregon or USC at that point in time, or maybe they're not good enough. Okay, then they'll go lose their first playoff game. But give me a criteria that I understand. Right, you have your 5 power conference champions. You can have your 2 at-large teams. So there's a team that might have a bad loss but could get better, like in Oklahoma, throughout the season. It gives them a chance. And then you continue throwing your scraps to a group of 5 team. Let them get in 1-8 matchup, move on, right? Just like we see in NCAA tournament. We don't complain about that when a 15 seed or 16 seed happens to get blown out of the building. But it's because we know the structure and we're okay with it. This structure is just something I'm never going to be okay with. I'm not saying like when you look outside of the top 3 or 4 that there's just huge injustice. I don't like how you have to talk in circles. I don't like the campaigning that all these coaches have to do because it just sounds bad at times. With Jimbo Fisher going out there, we're a 1-loss SEC team, has never been kept out of the playoffs, and we deserve to be in. Well, he has to do that because it's a system in which you're trying to convince a room of people to let you in to play for a national championship. But what really, really got me is Gary Barta, who was the committee chair of the college football playoff. Tell me who this is. He said, 2 wins against ranked teams, undefeated, and a conference champion. Maybe sounds like a Coastal Carolina, right? No, it was about Ohio State. He said that is why Ohio State is in the college football playoff. And I'm like, okay, well, I can say that about Coastal Carolina. They had no shot. You can look at Cincinnati, who's the undefeated conference champion, and actually dropped as a 2-loss Oklahoma jumped them from winning the Big 12 and beating Iowa State. By the way, Iowa State, a team who lost to Louisiana, who Coastal Carolina beat. So those are the inconsistencies in the system that I know are there that are never going to change. And that is what upsets me, is there is never a shot, a legitimate shot to get in, to have a chance for a group of 5 team. If a group of 5 team is at 4, yeah, they're going to be ridiculous underdogs. Notre Dame's 17.5-point underdogs to Alabama. Are we feeling any different about that game just because it's Notre Dame, the Golden Domers? No, it's just the inconsistencies that I'm so frustrated with in this system. So pretty much your group of 5, it's just be happy you're getting your allowance and you're allowed to play college football along with the big boys. Because like I said, the top 4 this season, I don't have a problem with it. I do think ultimately those are the 4 best teams. It's just the big picture issues in which group of 5 keeps getting pushed down. You do what you can. You want to at least have a chance. And you're never going to have a chance. And it's really frustrating, but it is the way it is. So do you think it's something that you just kind of have to shut up and deal with it? Like, power conference teams are always going to be better no matter what. They have the resume. That was the one thing that really jumped out to me yesterday, is that comment about Ohio State. And I'm like, that could be another team that got no shot of getting into the top 10.
Here's the thing. Some of these Power 5 teams don't even have the resume. I mean, you're talking about Oklahoma and Iowa State, who just should not be up there ranked above Coastal Carolina. I mean, Coastal Carolina totally got gypped in this. I mean, yeah, they're in a lower conference, but Oklahoma and Iowa State, both of those teams had bad losses. And yeah, they kind of finished out with some good wins, but they just don't even have the resume compared to, say, Coastal Carolina.
Right, and it's supposed to be about, the regular season just matters that much more in college football. No, the regular season, it's just if you're in the power conference, you're good to go. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
And I'm okay if a team gets better. And I think that is the beauty of an 8-team playoff, is it kind of has that 2 spots open for, say, Florida. Yeah, Florida would have a conversation and didn't lose to LSU. Don't have a terrible loss like that. It's one thing to lose and then respawn. It's another thing to lose to LSU. Did you just see that flag football game they played with Ole Miss over the weekend too, by the way? What did that end, like 84-70? Like, that was just terrible football. But it's the SEC, so it's the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to college. Like, I'm okay.
1 minute.
Get better. But I think a system needs to be clearer we just need to know, hey, this is what it takes to get in, not a room of a bunch of people that are talking back and forth that want to say one thing that sounds like, oh, this would be perfect for this team over here, but it only matters for this team because they play in a power conference. So when it comes to the top four this season, I don't have a problem with it. I do think ultimately Notre Dame, that win over Clemson, when you're really picking apart one or two wins in such a weird season, is the best win available for the other teams. It's just the whole system, the inconsistencies that I want to do away with and at least have a clearer picture of this is what you got to do to participate at the very top level of college football. We'll take your thoughts. 246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. So much to get to from the weekend. Louisville basketball in action tonight. The men at Boise State. And a team won their first game of the season. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside of running an out route.
Davison in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling, he's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
there's a long three.
Boom.
Bang.
Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Going to the playoffs, I'm not used to this. I'm used to sending my cars home by this time. And, you know, hey, I'm already packing up, learning where I'm going next, where's the vacation, when am I seeing family. Sorry to cut you off, brother. I'm just excited, man. So got it. Oh, yeah.
that is Seattle safety Jamal Adams, who's going to the postseason for the first time in his NFL career. Of course, Jamal Adams traded from the New York Jets before this season. We know what's gone on with the Jets, who were victorious yesterday over the LA Rams. But Jamal Adams is happy. He's going to the playoffs. You heard it there. You know, this would be the time of the year where he would be thinking about, all right, where am I going on vacation once the season is over? He said getting his cars back to where he lives in the off season, just winding down another bad year with the Jets. But he's going to the playoffs with the Seattle Seahawks.
You know, that's going to be Jets fans right there if they ever get rid of Gase.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. Didn't mean to cut you out.
I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Back with the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, it's Micah, Jay Pohl, and Josh holding it down. ProView Network, you can watch the show, Comcast Channel 26. Of course, stream us online. Just head up ProView on the Facebook or facebook.com/TheOD in the AM. The Jets beat the Rams 23-20, so we can finally not forget about it. But the worst thing that happened in the stadium wasn't 45-0 Patriots over the Chargers. It was what the Rams just did against the New York Jets. So that was 100% going through the motions. Like, you show up, you're practicing, you're listening to meetings, but you're like, yeah, we got this. We're playing the Jets. We'll be good. Don't worry about it. Wait, the Jets just scored on their opening drive? Wait, Jared Goff just threw another interception? What is happening? Wait, they're going for it on 4th down and scoring a touchdown? What? The New York Jets did that to the Los Angeles Rams. So now the question is, and by the way, you can't tank in football. It's the hardest sport to try to tank in. Jeff always likes to say, you know, the other dudes are on scholarship too, where they're getting paid. So the New York Jets, as a football team, those dudes are going to go out there and play hard. They might not be good, but they're still going to try because they got a paycheck to cash, and they hope to have a job next season. It makes a ton of sense for everyone else to look at Adam Gase and laugh at the Jets and say, 0-16. But it's really hard to just outright tank in football unless you start a terrible quarterback. And Sam Darnold's not terrible. Not a good football team, but not terrible at the quarterback position. And you saw that yesterday. The biggest takeaway, though, is the next 5 years. Do you want Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence? Because as awesome as that victory was, if you're the Jets and you don't have to go 0-16, which it doesn't matter, like that's on Adam Gase. It's not on Jets fans. But now as a Jets fan, you're wondering, do I want Sam Darnold for the next few years or 5 years of Trevor Lawrence? Because now that's an issue. Because the 1-win Jets and the 1-win Jaguars are now neck and neck for who gets to draft Trevor Lawrence. And I'm on board with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's that generational prospect. He's a franchise-changing type of quarterback. He can do everything. He has enough athleticism to make plays out of the pocket. He can make the throws. He doesn't turn the football over. But now you're sitting there going, uh-oh. Because you know Adam Gase is gone. He's gone after the season. But is there a legit chance Trevor Lawrence is gone now because they won this game?
And that's the difference maker to me. I think I still like Sam Darnold. I just think you have to get rid of Gase because, I mean, look at what Tannehill did without Gase. Look at what Tannehill is with the Titans, and maybe you're expecting Sam Darnold can become something like that, but you just
the difference here is you're going to have to pay Sam Darnold in the next year or two.
True.
Like, you're going to have to decide, oh, we're giving him the next contract versus, you know, the 4 years plus the rookie extension year of Trevor Lawrence. So it's not just, oh, we might like Sam Darnold without Adam Gase. It's, oh, we also got to pay this guy in a year or two. And what is his value going to be with the new staff? I think it's a scenario where you have to draft Trevor Lawrence if you have the number 1 pick. And you say, Sam Darnold, I know it wasn't maybe all your fault, but we're going to get you some value out of you and go with the next 5 years of Trevor Lawrence versus Sam Darnold, which is now a huge question mark because the most Jacksonville thing happened, by the way, yesterday. It was never in doubt. You know, Baltimore ran them off the field 40-14. They played the game without a punter. we know it's a weird year, but to not even have a punter available, you're going to punt the football a lot when you're playing Baltimore. So they had to go for it on 4th down. And it was like from midfield, they were throwing like Hail Marys on 4th down and then just turning the football over there. Like, it was just a bad football for Jacksonville. But that's where we're at now.
It was like bad Madden. You know how you just lose. You're playing that one kid who won't punt and just goes for it on every 4th down. That's what it was watching.
Yeah, it's like 4th and 7 from the 50, and the Gardner Minshew's dropping back and throwing it 40 yards downfield. They're like, I get you don't have a punter, but like at least try at this point in time. But now Jacksonville is right back in the running for Trevor Lawrence, and I get it. You know, the Jets, as a team, can't go out there and tank, but now it's a legitimate question. It's like we keep making excuses for Sam Darnold. Like, yeah, he's on a really bad football team, and I think he could be okay somewhere else. But the answer is Trevor Lawrence for the next 5 years versus Sam Darnold for 2+ whatever you sign his extension for. And now that's in doubt because it's a 1-win Jaguars and 1-win Jets. 2460610 is Zaquan's Auto Care hotline. Edward, you're on the opening drive. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Happy winter solstice, a.k.a. the first day of winter, a.k.a. the day in the Gregorian calendar that has the shortest amount of daylight. That I'd share that with you guys. It's a good day of celebration. Sean, don't hate me, my brother. I know the Scotch was probably flowing like the Nile River yesterday, but the Jets, even when they win, they lose. It is so bad. I will guarantee you this. Jacksonville will tank their last 2 games because Trevor Lawrence is a transcendent player, a generational player, that one that comes around only once every 15 to 20 years. And I'm hoping the Jaguars do tank and land that pick. Boy, I don't know. You're right, JJ. It's hard to tank in the NFL. Everyone's on scholarship. Everyone's been getting paid since they played at major programs in the NCAA, no pun intended. But now they're making big dollars, and it's hard to ask guys to lay down. But I'm hoping Jacksonville lands that pick just to rub it into the Jets. Sean, I love you, brother. You've made some great recommendations. It's not against you. It's about their organization. NCAA football, Notre Dame, they could have lost by 50. It was a complete and utter mismatch. And you and I were wrong, JJ. We thought it wasn't just because Trevor Lawrence was out. You know, they could hang. Clemson could have beat them by, I'd say, 40 to 50 points. They really could have. And they kind of laid up and late in the second half. For Notre Dame to get in, and I know why they're doing it, right? They're going to get the fan base and the television viewership. I understand all that. They are going to get rolled by Alabama. I would say minimum of 4 touchdowns, unless Alabama just eases up, right? But, you know, Notre Dame, credit to them. Brian Kelly's done a great job there, and they've made, you know, the Final Four a few times. But they are going to get rolled, just like Oklahoma used to get rolled the last few years. And I don't know. Maybe they need to make an all-star team to play against Clemson and Alabama. Make a couple of all-star teams with different teams and see if they can beat them. Hey, in the NFL, I said about 5 weeks ago, things are going to flip-flop. There's one decided really, really great team in the NFL, and that's the Chiefs. By the way, when it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 5, you essentially have no chance of stopping them. To beat the Chiefs, you have to score a minimum of 4 touchdowns, probably 5, and try to keep them off the field the best way you can and get a couple of turnovers. That's your chance. I think they've won 22 of their last 23 games, if I'm not mistaken. And they have a transcendent talent who I don't think's played a bad game in his 3 years in the NFL, quite honestly. He's had some bad moments, but not a thoroughly bad game. But I did say things are going to flip-flop. You know, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's not a week-to-week league. It's a half-to-half league for them. I don't know. I have no idea how they won that game yesterday. In the first half, they couldn't get a first down. I told my son at halftime, they're down 17. They're going to get 6 possessions in the second half. They're going to have to score on 4 of them. And what do? They score on 5 straight possessions. And on their 6th possession, they're driving and they kneel down to end the game. I don't know how they won that game. I'll take it. But if they play like that in the second half, you know, the rest of the year, the NFC is just a battle of, who knows, flip a coin, because I think it's up for, you know, anybody to win it. In the AFC, what we're seeing transpire is there's going to be a dogfight. Indianapolis is going to be a hard out. Tennessee is going to be a hard out. The Ravens are going to get in, and they're going to be a tough out. Buffalo might be the second best team in the NFL. So even though Kansas City has the upper hand right now, we're going to see some very interesting things in the AFC playoffs. Upsets all over the place because each one of those teams that gets in. By the way, the Steelers are going to get in. They're probably the weakest team to get into the AFC playoffs. Them or Cleveland if they get in. But I'm thoroughly excited for it. Anyway, just wanted to share those thoughts. You guys are doing a great job. It's nice to hear Jeff this morning, and I hope you guys have a delightful day.
All right, Edward, appreciate the phone call. He got in 246-0610. You know why Tampa Bay won that game? They're playing the Falcons. What do the Falcons do? They lose games in the second half. It's what they do, especially to that guy on the other side in Tom Brady. There's, I think, the most yo-yo team in the NFL is Tampa Bay. There's times they look like the most disappointing football team, which was the entire first half. In the second half, you're wondering, how is this team not better? Tom Brady throwing a game-winning touchdown pass to Antonio Brown. Oh, Chris Godwin. Oh, Mike Evans. Leonard Fournette was like benched last week. He's back scoring 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, agree with that 100%. And the AFC playoff picture is fascinating because you can make a case for all those teams, not necessarily winning, say, the entire conference, but Indianapolis at times has been a top 3 defense in the NFL. And when they're healthy, they're a dominant unit. Tennessee has an explosive offense, which you need to compete against the best team in that division. Cleveland is just solid on both sides of the football. It was ugly at times last night, but the thing the Giants can do is play defense. I think Baker Mayfield has figured out who he is as a quarterback under Kevin Stefanski this season. Heck, the Miami Dolphins, it was ugly, but Tua didn't have anyone. The starting running back is on the IR. Devontae Parker is out. Gesicki is out. Preston Williams has been out. And they win a game which officially put the nail in the coffin against New England Patriots, who not be in the playoffs for the first time since 2008. Former Patriots assistant Brian Flores, head coach of the Dolphins. You know, that's a statement game. Oh, by the way, you look at it, Tom Brady going to the playoffs, Patriots are not. Now, I don't think Tom Brady would have done much better with that supporting cast in New England this season. But that's what we're seeing right now in the AFC. We come back on the other side. It's a season of backup quarterbacks. And Dallas did it again. This opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown! Volcanovic!
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. looking up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Goes to the far side push. Shot on in goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Calion stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Dallas Cowboys. We are the Cowboys.
Of course, that team finds a way. They're the cockroaches of the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys victorious over San Francisco yesterday. What was that final score? 41-33. What a wild ending. You had CeeDee Lamb taking back an onside kick. You had a Hail Mary converted that didn't actually matter unless there was, of course, your point total involved or the over-under of that game. It feels like they went way past that at that point in time. But there's life in Big D.
I think the most beautiful part of that game was CeeDee Lamb's, onside kick, and he just takes it to the house. Because usually, I've always wanted people to do that, because the hole's always open. So you get the onside kick, you see the hole, and it's like, just go and score. And they always just drop on the ground. They try to be nice and safe with it. And I'm like, just go score. And sure enough, CeeDee Lamb just went ahead and did it. And I was like, oh, beautiful.
So we've been asking the question when it comes to the Cowboys, of course, the defense, the contracts that are over there. Dak Prescott, do you pay him? Maybe it's Ezekiel Elliott that we need to be talking about a little bit, because Tony Pollard sparked some life into this offense. Okay, they created some turnovers early and got the ball back for Andy Dalton and company, but Pollard looks spry. He looks excited. Now, too much money for them to get out under from Ezekiel Elliott, so he's going to be back in the fold. with the Cowboys. But you looked at Dwayne Haskins was starting, Colt McCoy was starting, and it gave Dallas a shot to hang in there just a little bit the remaining games, Philadelphia and the New York Giants. So you're telling me there's a chance somehow, some way, there is a chance for the Cowboys in this division. I will say Dwayne Haskins was a rough deal for him early in the season. He wasn't benched for Alex Smith. He was benched for Kyle Allen. That was the first move that the Washington football team made, to go to Kyle Allen. And then once Kyle Allen got hurt, that's when Alex Smith came in. But Dwayne Haskins played much better than I expected yesterday. He had 2 interceptions, but they asked him to throw the football 55 times against Seattle. And they had a chance in that game because that defense is legit. They play defense in Washington. And that's, the one thing, too, with kind of what gave the Giants some life as they've been going through their quarterback messes, what they're doing defensively. But there's an opportunity. The NFC East is still wide open when the best quarterback in that division is Jalen Hurts at this moment in time. Absolutely a Sooner showdown in the desert. By the way, it's the opening drive. JJ Buck, Micah, J. Pole, Josh holding it down on ProView. What Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray did yesterday was fantastic. It was great football watching those two. Jalen Hurts, 24-44, 338 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions thrown. Also added 63 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. And by the way, Kyler Murray threw 406 yards, 3 touchdowns, had a pick, rushing touchdown on the ground in a great football game, 33-26 Arizona over Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts is the future. And that is an uh-oh game for Carson Wentz. And it came out, sources said Carson Wentz doesn't want to be a backup. Shocking that Carson Wentz doesn't want to be a backup. But guess what, Carson? That team was broken. That offense was broken. And you were a part of it because Jalen Hurts has given life to the Philadelphia Eagles. And now this is a real decision. I felt like this is one where you could have Hurts play out the season and then come back and say, you know what, Carson, yeah, you're still our guy. It didn't work. We could look at that as a learning experience. But what we saw yesterday was the future. And it's a legitimate question now that Philadelphia could move forward with Jalen Hurts and see who wants Carson Wentz. And I think Indianapolis, I know Jeff has brought this up before, makes a ton of sense. Frank Reich is their head coach. He was the OC in Philadelphia when they won the Super Bowl. Of course, he did it with Nick Foles, but he knows Carson Wentz. He knows the kind of player he can be. Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? Who are you taking? What are you doing in Philadelphia?
For me, you got to go Hurts. Because, all season you heard from Eagles fans and everyone that just, Carson Wentz can't do it with this cast of characters around him. It's the cast of characters, not Wentz. And then sure enough, you get Hurts in there for 2 games, and Hurts is doing it with this cast of characters. So it's a Wentz problem. So I'm definitely going Hurts.
Oh, yeah, definitely Jalen Hurts on that one, man. That didn't waste, but you took a second round on him. Mm-hmm. He's the future there. Hey, Jacksonville's looking for a quarterback.
I don't know.
Foles down there, the Wentz. Get Wentz down there. The Jets trade up, get that number 1. The Jets still get Trevor Lawrence. Wentz goes down to Jacksonville. Everyone's happy.
All right. I don't know if Carson Wentz is maybe worth the number 2 overall pick potentially in the NFL draft. But even just 2 games in, I think that is a serious question. I was on board with them playing Hurts the rest of the way and then coming back and saying, Carson Wentz is still our starting quarterback. I think you can do that. If Carson Wentz's feelings are hurt, so be it. Get over it, man. It's pro sports. You were playing bad. They had to make a move. But Jalen Hurts, what he did yesterday was everything you want in a quarterback. He was asked to throw the football downfield. They fell behind early. So it wasn't like we saw against the Saints, where Jalen Hurts kind of won the game with his legs. He had 100 yards rushing. He got by. This is one where he had to throw the football first. And that's what really impressed me because Jalen Hurts can throw. He's not just this runner. He has a good passing motion. He throws a good football. And I think when you look at these quarterback questions moving forward, it's that window where you have a good quarterback on a rookie contract. It's what else can you do? That's the question moving forward, right? Like in Dallas, it's, do you invest in Dak? Because at some point in time, you have to pay quarterbacks. Like, they still are important. So you're not always going to have, say, a good young quarterback on an affordable contract. But I think in Philadelphia, you have that. You can move forward with Jalen Hurts and compete in that division, even if you think, all right, Washington will get better, Dallas, etc. Like, you can win with Jalen Hurts. He has everything you need. So what do you do with Carson Wentz? Contract is big. You have to absorb it. But I keep just thinking about Indianapolis because they don't have a quarterback making a lot of money. They had Phil Rivers on a one-year deal. So they don't have to work around a massive quarterback contract that they have. The Frank Reich connection. They've traded a first-round pick last year for DeForest Buckner from San Francisco, and it was kind of that mid, I think it was like 18 or so, that mid-first-round pick. So they're willing to make a move like that. I think Jalen Hurts absolutely is the future in Philadelphia. And then you figure out, all right, what kind of value can we get out of Carson Wentz? Because I think you still absolutely first-round pick or second-round pick, first-round pick next year. I think he can bring that in return. But even in a 2-game sample size, I'm team Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah, and then, like I said, you have that second-round rookie contract, so it gives you more flexibility in that. You're not paying a first round. You're not paying that $16 million a year like you are, say, Justin Herbert or something like that. Jalen Hurts is only making in the round of what, like 6, something like that.
And I was gonna say, and then the beauty of it, if you go the Hurts route, you get added pieces to Hurts because you're gonna trade Wentz for something. So you get Hurts and pieces, with that trade, or you get Wentz and the same team moving forward.
And I think of the quarterbacks that have a lot of money, there is still value on Carson Wentz. Like the Matt Ryans, the Matt Staffords of the world, they're guys that what you're getting. You're at the end, there's a couple years left, a massive contract. I think there's more teams willing to make that investment in a Carson Wentz with that contract versus those other guys. So I do think there would be still a good market when it's hard to move contracts of that size. It is. You're talking about trading a guy that's making over $100 million. You just don't really see that happening in this league. But I believe there's still value attached to him. And yeah, that's what one game can do. I think Jalen Hurts showed you everything yesterday. Throwing the football, commanding that offense. And Mike, to your point, yeah, we were looking at it was everyone else's fault and not Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. I think Carson Wentz is still a talented dude, but that team looked completely different with Jalen Hurts. And I think Philadelphia has their answer moving forward to reinvest in that team with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. It's the opening drive. 2460610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. You can email the show, jj@610knml.com. You can find me on the Twitter. It's _JJBuck. You can watch us on ProView. You can stream us, interact with us during the stream. You can watch us on Comcast Channel 26. Tons of ways for you to get involved with the show this morning. So it is the first on-court test tonight for Lobo basketball. What are your expectations for this team? Not the season, but these 2 games. 2 games in 3 days at Boise State. What are you expecting from the Lobos? JJ Buck, Micah, J Pole, Josh. Opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off, great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Calion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get
The Lobo basketball gets their first on-court test. Of course, plenty of challenges they faced already, as teams from the state of New Mexico have needing to relocate out of state to play this season. But Boise, Idaho is the destination for the next couple of days. The first of 2 games, as the Mountain West will be playing these like 2-game mini series throughout the year to get the 20-game conference schedule. So what are your expectations for the Lobos over the next 3 days? Boise State 10.5-point favorites tonight. I think that's a fair number. And you're giving the step up in competition for the Lobos. They needed Houston just to play games and get out there. Start with the Rice, Our Lady of the Lake, Laterno. Not a lot you can take away from that just in terms of basketball. It's just getting the guys on the court, seeing individually how these guys play, what Valdir Manuel looks like, Byron Matos, his first action, seeing Jeremiah Francis. You can take away some of their tendencies, but just get an idea of what Paul Weir wants to do with this roster. And it is similar to year 1, Paul Weir, in terms of big rotation, team that is athletic, that will get after you on the defensive end, and it's going to be about what happens in the paint. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Michael holding it down back at Radio Ranch. We got Jay Pole and Josh on the ProView side. So the expectations for the Lobos, I think a good 3 days for them would be a split. Of course, you want to win every game. We get it. I think tonight is going to be a challenge, one that they need. Get that experience against a team that can match you athletically, that's going to have size to test you all across the board, but a chance to implement your system against a conference contender. And Boise State has that kind of talent this year to be one of the teams picked second preseason Mountain West Conference poll. The preseason conference player of the year, Derek Alston, how good he can be. But I'm looking at this, one where Jeremiah Francis brings you some stability at the point guard position. He needs to be a creator because this team is going to struggle shooting. And that is my biggest question with this team is I think they can definitely be a factor on a nightly basis because of the defense and kind of that rebounding mentality of, finishing possessions, being tough inside. It's what, physically and athletically this team has trait-wise, and really what Paul Weir is presenting as what the identity of this Lobo basketball team is going to be. But it's, who steps up? Can it be a committee approach? Can you have that be a team that competes to win a conference with someone with not having, say, a number 2 scorer? And I think Makwach Malawach is going to take over. His game is built for this style of play, kind of playing inside out, mid-range, and then extending. So I think that suits him well. But does a number 2 have to develop on this team? And who can that be? Or can they get by if they buy into the identity of they're coming at you in waves? It's going to be maybe even a 10-man rotation at times. You look at the 3 players in the front court, Matos, Manuel, Rod Brown, of course, backcourt, Francis, Singleton, Keith McGee, Makwach Malawach. We've seen a little bit of Javante Johnson. So if you're looking at it at a 10-man rotation, do they have to have a number 2? And I think that's going to be the question is, does someone emerge along with Malawach when the games get tight, when you need a bucket? Who can be that guy? Well, Keith McGee, so much is going to be on him early in the season shooting-wise. Because this team doesn't shoot from the outside well. So that's why I keep going back to Francis and being a creator, drive and kick, dribble drive offense. But what are your expectations for Lobo basketball, not just this season, but really in this series tonight with who they're going to be and what you're going to see from them? I think tonight will be a struggle at times. It's just, boom, step up in competition. Boise State is one where they were supposed to play this at the beginning of December, but that just never made sense with all the stuff that the Lobos were dealing with. But here we are. Series is finally happening. What do you think we're going to see from the Lobos?
Well, I was going to say I'm most excited to see Matos against that, next level of play, against guys that are his size, something that's going to be tough for him in this Boise State team. I'm excited to see what Matos can do and if he steps up to that level, and if he can be, like you said, maybe that number 2 guy. So I think that's what I'm most excited to see, is just kind of that next tier, especially for Matos, to see what he's all about. Not playing, little white guys under 6 foot with these first 3 games.
We're competitive. We're feisty, Micah. We go hard. Be careful there. Laterno, man, they came to play. They gave the Lobos a game. They showed up. They were willing and able to play a basketball game. But I think with the way that Paul Ware hopes this basketball team plays, it can mitigate some of those questions in terms of maybe having a true number 2 or not being a great shooting team. If you can keep up that intensity, that mentality of attacking the basket, playing inside out, because that will suit this team well. You're going to have to hit jump shots. It's still a jump shooting game. Got to put the ball in the bucket, and especially with how important the 3-point shot is. But if the Lobos can be a different team defensively, so it starts there too, right? On the inside, both offensively and defensively. If they can defend, they're going to give themselves a chance to work on that, to get by in games where they're not shooting well, because that's the biggest question mark. Is what this team does offensively from the perimeter. But I think athletically, they have plenty of dudes that can attack, that can get going inside. Matos, Valdir. These dudes, I think they do definitely have an upward trajectory, but they have a long way to go. Brian Matos, this is his first D1 action. Same with Valdir. They're talented athletically, but they have a lot of work to do just on the little things, on post positioning, what the offense is going to look like when you get the ball inside, what kind of moves are you going to make. So that's why I think tonight is going to be a struggle for the Lobos, but I think they can come out with a split. So you're banking on them buying into Paul Ware's idea for who they are, for learning, all right, boom, this is what it's like. Boise State, athletically, they're going to be able to stand in front of you. Size, they're going to test you. And I think they respond on Wednesday night. So I'm thinking a split is probably best case scenario, and what the Lobos would be comfortable with getting out of this series given everything they've gone through.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference in working the game inside out, and those post moves that they need to work on. Is it's a lot different, when you're working inside out against a team. Let's say their biggest guy is 6'5", 6'6", and you can just chuck the ball cross court to that 3-point line and get that easy 3, compared to what you're going to see from a team like Boise State, where they've got guys to match your size. And so it's going to be, and that's why I'm most interested, like I said, to see Matos and to see if he can work those intricacies in the post against guys his size, just to see how he matches up and can, play against guys that are right there with him.
246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. You can email the show at jj@610canml.com. What are your expectations the next few days for Lobo basketball as they open up Mountain West play tonight at Boise State? You can hear the game over on News Radio KKOB, UNM Sports Radio Network. 7:30 tip-off. So pregame starts at 7 with Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green. Speaking of college athletics, college football playoff is set. Are you okay with just like a weekly allowance? That's pretty much what a group of 5 is getting. It's just a weekly allowance. Thank you for showing up. Now keep doing your thing. The CFP needs clearer decision making. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'm not your grandma. I don't wear 12 layers.
Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in minute.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveris. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Nick Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh
my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay,
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Step it up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up. Man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho. Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and.
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Hey, Clones, you've heard me talk about Walmart before.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it!
I just want the debate to make sense for the college football playoff. Just give me some clarity. I'm good with it. This year, it was weird. Did Ohio State deserve to be in? I don't think A&M was shafted if you just heard the CBS Sports Minute from Boomer Esiason. I don't think it was that bad. That is definitely just SEC bias, just assuming that every team A&M played was good because they play SEC football. It's easy to question Ohio State's resume. They are living off reputation. But that's what I want out of this. I want it clear. I don't care if you don't think Oregon's a playoff team. In the future, if they win the conference, you get in. I just want some clarity. And then we can have a debate about two teams. Because there's always going to be someone on the outside thinking they should get in. But I'd rather have a debate about two, a clear path. Everyone knows what you have to do. You want to get in the college football playoff, you're a power conference team, go win your conference. Boom, solve that. And then you drop in two wild card teams and a group of 5 representative. Clean, clear, concise. Let's get it. Instead of this mess, year in and year out, where it's a bunch of loud noises, but it is all the same. It's Ohio State, it's Alabama, and it's Clemson. Yes, because they're running college football. But at least give me specifics, and I'll be happy moving forward. It's the opening drive. JJ Buck, Micah, got J. Pole and Josh on ProView side. Holding it down. You can watch us, Comcast Channel 26. Of course, stream us online. So 1 through 4, I think they got it right. I do think if you have to, in this season, really dissect 1 or 2 wins. And if we go 1 win, is it A&M over Florida or Notre Dame over Clemson? And I think in this case, you have to say Notre Dame over Clemson, even without Trevor Lawrence on the field, because it was, like a 47-43 crazy double, triple overtime contest. And I think Florida is a good team, but they got that anchor, the cement feat of losing to LSU. But here we are moving forward. And now as we get to Clemson, Ohio State, it is the press conferences, the coaches that are talking. It is easy to pick apart Ohio State's resume. But I'm also not going to sit here in a year where it's a global pandemic. It's affected all of our lives in some way or another, and especially the college sports world. And I'm not going to hold it over the Big Ten or the Mountain West for being unsure, or really not knowing what the right thing is to do before the season started. Because what we've heard a lot from Jimbo Fisher, Brian Kelly, Dabo Swinney is they should get credit for just playing games. Not necessarily who you played, but just playing games. And I can't look at a team that might have lost a game because a student athlete got COVID and hold that against them and say, how dare you did that? Because you could be doing all the right things and one weird interaction on your way to your dorm room gets you sick. So I'm not going to hold it against a student athlete or a team for losing a game in the global pandemic, right? There's, I think, one team, and we'll have to get a fact checker on this, maybe one team that didn't have a positive test, and that was the Lobos, because they moved their entire team to a different state to bubble. So I'm not going to sit here and play this game, or I don't want to hear these coaches play this ridiculous game where they want to penalize someone for getting sick in a global pandemic. I don't want to hear that. I get Ohio State's resume is questionable. They are definitely living off reputation for being in the top 4, but I don't want to hear that. I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's part of the campaigning that you have to do in a system like this, but I don't want to hear it. But Dabo Swinney's going off again, Micah. What did Dabo Swinney say this time, head coach of Clemson?
So, according to USA Today, they looked at the final coaches polls ballots, and for Dabo Swinney, he ranked it 1 Alabama, 2 Clemson, 3 Notre Dame, 4 Texas A&M, all the way down at 11 Ohio State. That was his final coaches poll ballot.
So he thinks Ohio State is the 11th best team in college football. If we're going from just purely a games played standpoint, okay, that is fantastic word material. Should be good. Yeah, Ohio State didn't look great against Northwestern. Justin Fields, the last 2 games, has been iffy. But they ran the football for what felt like 800 yards on Northwestern. So when your quarterback isn't playing great, you got Trey Sermon, that Ohio State running back to lean on. You can give yourself a bit of a chance. But I'm tired of hearing that from coaches about how they should have got extra bonus points for playing. It's an uncertain year. They didn't know what to do. The Mountain West didn't secure testing until a little bit later to keep these student athletes safe. What you wanted to say, it's all about their safety and giving them the opportunity. And now you want to talk down to kids that might have gotten sick in a system that you wanted to put them out there to play this season? No, you can keep that at home. You can keep that to yourself, Jimbo Fisher and Dabo Swinney.
You know,
don't want to hear it.
I really hope with Clemson and Ohio State facing off, I hope Ohio State beats them just to shut up Dabo. And then they were like, you know, Dabo's saying all this stuff and Ohio State comes out, beats them, and like, all right, what do you got to say now, Dabo?
If you're looking for some other storylines in this game, I like Clemson. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like Travis Etienne. Dabo Swinney's got the resume. He's got the track record. He knows how to build a football team. But he's definitely one of those coaches that you want to root against. You do. And I might be on Ryan Day's side when it comes to this matchup, Ohio State versus Clemson. Tons to get to. Goffle performance. The Jets win. Lobo basketball tonight. CFP bowl season. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'm Chris Rose with NFL Network Now on the Westwood.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Calion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbaosi throws it down.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
As the Lobos open up Mountain West play tonight, the men in Boise take on the Boise State Broncos. And one thing we haven't seen and might not see this year, Lobos and Aggies on the basketball court. Is there a chance? Could they find a way? Maybe just one game played on the court. It's opening drive. JJ Buck, Micah, J Pole, and Josh back at ProView Networks, streaming us, keeping us going on Comcast Channel 26. You can find us, ProView Networks. Just search them on Facebook. Stream up the show. You can, well, as you watch live. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. It is bowl week, so Jeff Siembieda in Frisco, Kirky, getting ready for the New Mexico Bowl in Texas. Yes, it is what it is, but a lot of work being done by Jeff and his crew to get that game, and it will showcase New Mexico in a different light on Christmas Eve. So yes, it's New Mexico being played in Texas, but the banners, the commercials, still hashtag NM True. And win, fingers crossed, move forward, get to enjoy next year's New Mexico Bowl. We can all be happy when we get to see it in person once again, but it's going to be a different year. But a nice Christmas Eve viewing at home Thursday afternoon on the couch watching Hawaii and Houston. But one thing we might not get to see is Lobos and Aggies on the basketball court. It feels like on the women's side, that ship has definitely sailed. A lot of focus, the Lobo women just playing those 3 non-conference games, and then looking forward to when they start conference play at the end of December 31st at Nevada. But is there a chance to see the Lobo men play the Aggies, even just once? And for New Mexico State, too, it's missing out on the series against UTEP. UTEP released a schedule over the weekend saying that this is their finalized schedule, which you can't call anything final. You just can't in this series, but it did not include New Mexico State. And, of course, New Mexico State, unfortunately, has been dealing with some COVID issues in their program, so they've been on pause the last couple of weeks. They missed out on an opportunity to play Arizona, have some good games on their schedule, as now they're just trying to get healthy and get to WAC play for them as they're out there in Phoenix practicing and doing what they need to do to play this season. But while Mario Mocha, New Mexico State, Eddie Nunez at New Mexico, they've been open to it. You know, they say, yeah, we'd like to see this happen. You know, if it was something that they could do, I'd love to see it just once. Because these games, rivalry games, it's about the atmosphere. You don't get that this year. But you still get the intensity of a meaningful game when it comes to Lobo and Aggie fans. So even if it's just one this season, I'd love to see them find a way to get it done, figure out a site that makes sense, an arena whether it's somewhere in Arizona as the Lobos maybe in between some of their upcoming conference series, just for the Aggies to get back on the court as well, as they've missed some of these games. Chris Jan's going to talk with the media again today, so we'll get an update on where their program is at in terms of practice, how their players are doing, health status, and just what they're thinking about moving forward, because it's going to be challenging. You're going to have to be flexible and a lot of moving pieces to get a game like this, but I'd like to see it just once this season if it's possible. Still think it would be fun. The fans would absolutely enjoy it. It's like 19. We have to go back to World War II for at least New Mexico State UTEP not playing in World War, being the cause for these games to not be played. And then, of course, not being in the state of New Mexico, all the logistic challenges, but we might not see it this year, which it's unfortunate. It's a bummer, but maybe just one between the men. We can hold out hope for that, but we shall see what happens moving forward. Got this email from Jason, JJ at 610canamel.com. Says, good morning, JJ and Micah. So rather than an email where I pontificate on paper, I would like to ask, how much did Notre Dame playing in a conference affect them getting into the playoffs and help Clemson ultimately get the seed they have? And lastly, did anyone notice that the West Coast Conference may have leapfrogged to being the best conference in the West? BYU beating San Diego State on the road sends a clear message, and it's very possible BYU could finish third in their conference. Still waiting for Aggie Hoops, Jason. I think Notre Dame joining the ACC is the only reason that they're in the college football playoff this season. It gave them a guaranteed schedule. It allowed them a marquee win over Clemson. And then on the flip side, Notre Dame going undefeated, beating Clemson, allowed Clemson to stay in that conversation, because it has been a conference which has held Clemson back just a little bit over the last few years. Yeah, they've still been in, but it's a question of who they played. How many good teams are in the ACC?
And Sean.
So it's one that absolutely Notre Dame playing an ACC schedule this season helped both those teams get into the college football playoff, no doubt about it. And when it comes to the West Coast Conference, they have the best team in college basketball right now, Gonzaga, no doubt about it. Gonzaga's good year in and year out. Mark Few, we expect it. The difference for this team is Jalen Suggs. They have a one-and-done type of freshman in Suggs. And what he did against Iowa, leading that team in scoring, they're still really good defensively. They are always a contender, but I think this team is even a step ahead of some of the other squads that Mark Few has had. So, yeah, if you have the best team in college basketball, BYU, St. Mary's, maybe they're not as good as they've been in years past, but BYU sure did look good beating San Diego State. That was a quality win, especially what we've seen the Aztecs do. Pac-12 is struggling this season. I'm with you right now. Talking in the moment, I'll give you West Coast Conference, best basketball conference in the Western United States at this moment in time. 2460610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. A sigh of relief. It will not be 0-16. The Jets beat the Rams. Sean, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man?
Good morning, JJ. Good to hear you this morning. I mean, good. It has been a long time since I've got to enjoy a victory. Week 17 left. And I'll tell you why this one means something. Because, yeah, we could go 0-16. We could be one of the worst teams in the league, which, let's face it, we already are. But against a pretty good Rams defense, our offense actually showed life. And the Jets, their defense, it's always been a defense. You can always expect a good Jets defense. God knows what happened against the Raiders. But it's always our offense that's been the little brother of our team. And so, yeah, that gave me hope to see that last night with the core receivers that the Jets have, the offensive line. Mekhi Becton, how can you argue with the guy's result?
As a franchise left tackle for sure. Now the question, Sean, for you, Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence, what do you want for the future of this team?
See, back to the point that was made, look at Ryan Tannehill and what he's done sans Adam Gase. I'm not saying Sam Darnold's the answer. Trevor Lawrence would always be the pick. He seems like a generational talent. But do you honestly think that the Colts aren't going to take their foot off the gas last week? They already got beat by the Jaguars. That was the Jaguars' first win was against the Colts. I don't know if the Jets win their next 2 games.
Enjoy it, Sean. You deserve it. The Goffle Rams. Jeff, I don't know if you heard it, but he did call in the first hour. He took his lumps, but you, sir, are riding high this week. Enjoy it.
I really am. I appreciate you, gentlemen. Merry Christmas to you all. Have a good one.
Oh, enjoy it. One win for a fan. It absolutely does matter. See you, Sean. Appreciate the phone call. He got in 246-0610. Yeah, when you're on the outside, it's about that 0-16 life. I think Adam Gase having that on his resume, yeah, he's been a bad coach. He butts heads with his best player, but still, they're professional footballers and get paid to do a job, and they showed up and did their job yesterday. Francisco, you're on the opening drive. Francisco, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas to all. God bless everyone that's been affected by COVID, and, we pray for everyone. Real quick on the Lobos basketball, I think Paul Weir's definitely got a lot to prove. He can take other people's players and make a run, but he hasn't proven that he can take his own players and do something with them, and I think that it's going to be a very important year for him. I don't expect him to win the Mountain West tournament or anything, but what I want to see is improvement, and I just want to see more of team chemistry. And then on the women's side, come on, this guy's got to win a tournament game. They score a lot of points, but they can't stop anybody from scoring. And as far as football, I haven't been this excited in a very long time. I'm so pumped up for football. Gonzalez and Rocky can coach defense, and you can see it. That makes a big difference. And that's my problem with Weir and the other coach of the women's team. They don't coach defense, and you're in every game defensively. You can be in any game, but if you don't have no defense, you ain't gonna go far. But I'm very excited for football, man. I'm gonna commit to 10 season tickets right now. So that's just my take on that. And you guys be safe out there, everybody. Be safe.
All right, Francisco, good points on Paul Weir. Absolutely a year in which his coaching, the staff that he's brought in, which is very new. We always talk about team chemistry with the players on the floor. How does his coaching staff work with these players and develop? Because I believe that's going to be a big part of the Lobo men being successful is their identity defensively in the paint this season. When it comes to the Lobo women, they're going to get buckets. They're going to give up a lot of buckets. They're going to score a lot of buckets this season, and that's the way Mike Bradbury plays, but he's right on, and you want to see it from the women in Las Vegas and taking that step, and then you want to see the team chemistry. If you're having issues, you want to be, all right, you lost a game. How to respond? Not all the off-the-court stuff, and I do believe that this year's roster, this year's Lobo men's basketball team is past that. Team chemistry, the character is better, and they can just be all about basketball this season. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal.
Introducing.
Sorry, guys.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open. Getting
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi, lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double quick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Lamina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A three for
Set out to Jude Tapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good.
Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Just a reminder, the Jets victorious over the Goffle Rams yesterday, 23-20 in LA. Yeah, Jeff Siembieda called in the first hour, took his lumps, and 45-0 was not the worst thing to happen in that stadium this year. It wasn't the Patriots beating the Chargers like that. It was the Jets beating the Rams. Your classic going through the motion football game in which, yeah, you're practicing, you're listening in the meeting, but you show up figuring, yeah, we got this, no biggie. And the Jets score in the first drive of the football game. Jared Goff throws an interception. Jared Goff is looking like the dude that we question, wondering if he's ever going to get back to a Super Bowl. The Jets are converting on fourth down. They have the lead at halftime, and they hold on late. The big mistake did not happen in this case for the Jets, who are victorious. And boy, oh boy, does it add another element to the final 2 weeks of the season. The one-win Jets and the one-win Jaguars. And who is Trevor Lawrence going to be the quarterback of the future for? Its opening drive, our 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. Micah, got J. Pole, Josh holding it down on ProView Networks. Of course, you can watch us, Comcast Channel 26. Stream us online. Just hit up Facebook, search ProView. Find the show, of course, give us a like as well. Our opening drive Facebook page, facebook.com/the OD in the AM. Grady sent an email, jj@610knml.com. No XTV guy crew of OD in the AM. Preach. The only thing I'd add is that by expanding the playoff to 8 teams, the NCAA will expand the money they make, which we all know is their primary driver. Getting a true national champion that has earned it on the field and making more money, it is a win-win. Conference championships matter. Biased eye tests don't. That is from Grady. And I agree with that. You know, sometimes you can win your conference and maybe you won't have an undefeated record. You're 8-2 Oklahoma or an Oregon in this situation. But if you expand it, you make it cleaner, clearer. All right, you know, the 5-in, highest ranked team from the group of 5, your 2 wild cards, which you can have that debate. You can throw a Notre Dame in there, maybe a Texas A&M. He gets a chance, a team that does get better after a bad loss early in the season. That's just all I want. I want clarity. I hate the back and forth, the campaigning, which you have to do as a head coach, as an AD, conference commissioner in the system, to get the ear of the College Football Playoff Committee. I think this season, 4 teams, it probably works out. I just want a clearer, more expanded playoff that makes sense, and not necessarily, going in thinking that some group of 5 team is going to go crazy, because it's much harder to do in football. I just want it all to matter, instead of always picking and choosing what matters and then changing things on a weekly, if not daily basis to make it fit the narrative. And this is from Terry, who sent an email, which kind of goes along those lines. He says, each year, or even within the same year, the rules change in how they pick the 4 teams to make sure certain teams or conferences get their spot. Is it resume, eye test, conference champion, good wins, bad losses? As little respect as they gave Cincinnati this year, the truth is, as the Soup Nazi would say, no hope for you unless they expand it to 8 teams. And that is from Terry. And it's just, I just want clarity. Like, I don't think this debate is fun or it goes anywhere. You can't take a whole lot from 2020. That's understandable. But I think big picture is we see this system and it was a step forward, but still there's holes in it. Like, college football is not going to have the same equity as basketball. And still look at basketball. It's the power teams, quote unquote name brands that ultimately are progressing. And a basketball team is going to have a different chance, with one really good all conference player versus, even a Cincinnati or Coastal Carolina going against Alabama. But it's more so just a concise, clearer picture I would just really like for the top of college football.
And that's the thing. 2020 was the year to try this out. 2020, I mean, you're adding an extra, playoff team or here and there in pro sports and doing all these other things, trying to test things out to give other teams, just a chance this season. And that's what I'm most disappointed in, is that they should have, maybe just for this one season tried that 8-team college football playoff to see how it worked. And then moving forward, they can go, okay, that didn't really work like we thought it would. Let's go back to the 4. Or that worked a lot better. Let's move forward with that. So this was a season to try it, and I think they just blew it, not even trying it.
Yeah, and it's one where it's such a challenge. We've seen it's over 10 bowl games be canceled. They moved the Rose Bowl from California to Texas so fans could attend. Now, in the initial statement, they said they moved it because of safety. No, you moved it to a county that actually has a higher positivity rate than the one you moved it from. It's just, fans can attend these games now, which is why you moved it to the state of Texas. But everything was changed on a daily and weekly basis because we were learning new things as we went on. We were realizing, this challenge over here, well, maybe we can get by doing it over here. Contracts play a role, which would have been really hard to do, to your point. But if you're going to try something different, this would have been the year to probably get it in because, yes, money matters. Even in college athletics, money is a driving force. That's why you see the television contracts that these conferences get, why the NCAA tournament has to happen this year, because it goes back to these athletics departments, and then you have the trickle-down effect to the rest of the athletics. But it would have been fascinating to see. And it's always, we know the group of 5 is always going to be on the outside looking in. I am just for a clearer overall picture. I'm not saying, Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati are going to go out there and win a national championship, but at least give them a shot. First round of a playoff, right? That's what we love. We love the NCAA tournament, but for some reason, when it comes to college football, we're just dead set on it has to be the elite of the elites.
You know what? I love Edward's call because he made a really good point. Let's just get whoever wins the Natty against a group of 5 superstar team, and then and have them go at it just for extra fun, so you can see some group of 5 players actually.
I think a group of 5 superstar team would be fantastic, right? Because if you look at the NFL, all those dudes just don't come from power conferences. Exactly. We got a lot to get to. The reaction to the college football playoff bowl season. Yes, bowl season starts tomorrow. It is New Mexico a week, so Jeff Siembieda on his way to Texas so they can get that game in Frisco, Kirky, Houston, and Hawaii. So, of course, we'll be catching up with Jeff throughout the week, getting ready for bowl season, reaction to the college football playoff, NFL weekend, Lobo basketball tonight. In a year where there was so much unknown, there's so much to enjoy. Right now, it's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Skowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Late in the 3rd. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, right here on the Sports Animal. So it's Pittsburgh sitting right now in the 2 seed in the AFC. They're not the second best team in the conference. They should, air quotes, should handle their business against Cincinnati, but in a week-to-week league, you have no idea. I think we saw on Saturday, it was a reminder. Now, Denver's not a good football team. They're decimated with injuries overall. But of the second best team in the AFC, that is the Buffalo Bills. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal, and ProView Networks. JJ Buck, Micah, Jay Pohl, and Josh holding it down on the ProView side. So when looking at New Kansas City atop the AFC, atop the NFL right now, their win against New Orleans 32-29, and it wasn't a great game. The last 2 weeks have been challenges for Kansas City. You know, they fell behind early against Miami, had some turnovers. Patrick Mahomes wasn't crisp, but he's the ultimate eraser. Came back, won the game, and then the first half, in which the Saints' D was balling out, they still had a lead because of old man Brees. Drew Brees looked like a dude that, he broke 11 ribs, is old, came back, started 0 for 5, a challenge. Loosened up a little bit, looked pretty good in the second half. But that Saints team has a championship defense, but still, even with a championship defense, the question is, how do you take down that team with Patrick Mahomes? And it's got to look like the SEC championship game. You got to have an offense that can match Kansas City. Not necessarily about playing great defense, ball control offense. Hey, let's try to win time of possession, keep them off the field, which, it's nice. You want to limit their possessions. But it's got to be a team that can go toe-to-toe with them. I think what we have seen throughout the year is the evolution of Josh Allen into Pat Mahomes light. I'm talking light, like Coors Light, Bud Light, not your name brand, but light. And Josh Allen has those traits when it comes to a guy making plays out of the pocket. 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. When it comes to a guy who can make those crazy off-script throws, and his completion percentage up to 68%. That dude has taken the steps to be a quarterback that can potentially go toe-to-toe with Kansas City. And so it wasn't, because they beat the Broncos. It's the entire body of work and just realizing that this Kansas City team, when you get to the postseason, you're going to have teams that are going to try to slow down against them, a team that, whether it's like Baltimore, who we've seen play them tough at times, go in there and try to win it defense, running the football, ball control. I really think it comes down to be able to match them play for play. And I think Josh Allen can do that. Stephon Diggs has been fantastic this season. Still potentially have John Brown to get back in the playoffs. Cole Beasley, they don't really have a running game, but they can get by with Singletary and Moss. And I think that is how you challenge this team. How you push this Kansas City team in the postseason is by bringing an offense like that to the table. And so Josh Allen, yes, I'm calling him Pat Mahomes light. I think he has taken that step, that evolution in quarterback play this season. But we'll see if Pittsburgh can hold on, handle their business in that 2 seed. And it's different this year. 7 teams, each conference make the postseason. It's only the top seed that gets the bye in the first round. And I do think the AFC is fascinating because of the style of play. I think Tennessee has that explosive trait. Look at Ryan Tannehill. He has 2 legit receivers. Corey Davis has been fantastic this season with A.J. Brown, and of course, Derrick Henry. We know how he can take over a game. Indianapolis definitely has a defense that can make a point, and just Phillip Rivers, he doesn't turn the football over. You feel, all right, we'll have a shot somehow, some way in the second half. Miami holding on to that 7 seed yesterday was a good win for that team. And we saw on Saturday Buffalo win the AFC East. But yesterday it was Miami officially eliminating New England. So the Patriots are not going to the postseason for the first time since 2008, which isn't surprising because that team hasn't been good this season. But for the Dolphins to do it with Tua, to have their number 1 wide receiver, number 1 tight end, number 1 running back not playing, I think it puts Brian Flores right there with Ron Rivera in conversation with Coach of the Year. I know Jeff has been all about Brian Flores. I think Kevin Stefanski is third, even with what the Browns have. But what we saw yesterday, and then Cleveland last night, beating the Giants to get by a game wasn't great, but you beat Colt McCoy, right? You did what you had to do. The AFC is fascinating outside of Kansas City and what these matchups are going to be.
A year ago, if you would have said that Miami was going to get in the playoffs over the Baltimore Ravens. You would have thought I was crazy, but wow, they are. Who would have thought that the Ravens would be right out and Miami would be right in?
Now the Ravens just went out, and I believe they then hold the tiebreakers. So it's still in the hands of Baltimore to win out and get in the postseason. So I think Miami does need a little bit of help. But as we sit here right now, talking about what we just saw this weekend, it is the Dolphins with that 7th seed. I think Baltimore, you go back to, who did they beat before the Jaguars? Why am I blanking on this? It was the Monday Night Football. It was the Cleveland. Yes, last week, that game in which Lamar Jackson did not pull a Paul Pierce. But what you saw is a team that was explosive, that responded, that started to get back to what you expect them to be. So, Baltimore gets in, all of a sudden Lamar Jackson is playing better football. At times they can definitely have that defense that makes it ridiculously tough on you. So the AFC is fascinating from 1 through 8 right now, especially you're looking at Baltimore trying to chase down Miami. But I think when it's all said and done, it's who can score with Kansas City. Because there's not a defense right now in the AFC I'm looking at going, that unit is going to slow Kansas City down. So it's all about offense. And that's why I'm leaning towards Josh Allen. I am buying what Buffalo is selling this season. I am all in on the development of Josh Allen at the quarterback position. I think that is a formula. I think if you want to try to beat Kansas City, you make it look like that SEC title game, right? Where it's like 50-44. You're just going possession for possession, because I really don't know how else you do it.
Yeah, no, you got to win the shootout. It seems like with Kansas City, you got to be able to match them. And I agree. I think Buffalo would probably be the only team that can match them score for score.
We shall see if Pittsburgh can hold on to that 2 seed, or maybe Buffalo sneaks up there, because it is the big difference in that first-round matchup. Now, I don't know if you end up being the 2 seed and it's Baltimore, if you're feeling good about that first-round matchup, 2-7, as opposed to if it's Miami. As good as Miami has been in that first round, you'd much rather see Tua and the Dolphins than Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. It's the opening drive. JJ Buck Micah got Jay Poole, Josh Holland on ProView Networks right here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
He'll just shoot it. He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Heavyweight tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Uses some athleticism, and then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds, and look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. He wants 10. Give him 10!
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Heck about the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double quick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much.
Right up the gut. Trying to pound forward. And it is a touchdown for Richard McCorley. His second of the day. And touchdown number 25 in his career. This is just his second year at New Mexico. 25 touchdowns. Hanstein is out there for New Mexico. Gibson, one of the running backs, is out there.
Coaches are saying, come on, ball. Come on, ball.
Both coaches
both coaches. Coach Davis saying, just grab it. Just grab it.
Dual kickers on the play. A flag is thrown. It may have been offsides. It doesn't matter. New Mexico is able to haul it in, and that will do it.
Offside on the kicking team, number 83. The penalties decline. First down.
Lamar Jordan, 81 yards on the ground today, takes the final knee. I saw Richard McQuarley, our player of the game, take quite the backflip in the air. And for New Mexico, their second bowl win since the early 60s. And Bob Davie thrown up on the shoulders of the Lobos after a 23-20 win for New Mexico.
A little throwback New Mexico Bowl highlight there. That is from the 2016 season where New Mexico beat UT San Antonio 23-20. A 9-win season for Bob Davie. As bad as it ended, those 2 years, he did something pretty incredible with this program. Back-to-back bowl appearances. You know, they went on a 5-game winning streak that season. How they beat Wyoming at the end of the year, still had a chance at actually winning the Mountain Division, potentially playing in a Mountain West title game, but closing it out with a bowl victory, and then just how quickly things fell apart because that team was built for that run right there. That was where all their talent was. The upperclassmen, Lamar Jordan, Austin Apodaca, splitting snaps, and it actually worked with that offense. Richard McQuarley, Terron Gibson, just home run hitters, and you finished with a bowl victory. And how about Mac Brown, color commentator on that call, now head coach at North Carolina, and what he's done the last 2 seasons, you know, how much things have changed in the last 4 years. But it is bowl week. The bowl season starts tomorrow. Of course, Jeff Siembieda in Frisco, Kirky. He's not off. He's not joining us on the radio this week, but still working to put in Houston and Hawaii. They'll be playing that one on Thursday, Christmas Eve afternoon. Just we'll have to enjoy it differently. It's a tradition around here, of course, to go to the New Mexico Bowl, as so many have made over the last 15 years, dude. He's done it for 15 seasons, which is incredible. And because we see every year just how much, you know, even in the bowl world, things change. You know, games come and go. But to have that right here in Albuquerque for 15 years, unfortunately, year 15 in Texas, but still, it's a showcase of the state. Hashtag NMTrue. Just look a little different this season, and hopefully head into next year we can all somehow, some way be able to enjoy the New Mexico Bowl. But we'll catch up with Jeff throughout the week. As you called in earlier today, took his lumps for the Goffle performance as the Jets beat the Rams. Still have so much to get to from the weekend, the fallout from NFL Saturday and Sunday, which we'll jump into throughout the rest of the week. Global basketball tonight at Boise State. So it is here. 2 games over the next 3 days. They'll play tonight and Wednesday. These 2-game series throughout Mountain West play. Expectations, I do think tonight will be a challenge for Lobo basketball, but I think they get to split. And I think that's best case scenario for this team. You go in there and get the huge step up in competition tonight, kind of get your feet under you, feeling what you have to do, and then respond on Wednesday. So I think a good outcome for the Lobos in this trip to Boise would be a split. Just 0-2 would be rough, but still there's a lot of coming together this team has to do on the basketball court. We had calls about team chemistry, team character. I think all that will be good. It'll be about buying into Paul Weir, what he wants this team to be, its identity, and it's going to be on the defensive end, playing inside out. But we'll find out. 7:30 tonight is the tip-off. You can hear the game over on News Radio KKOB. 7 o'clock pregame, Rob Portnoy and Hunter Green. Big thank you, of course, Jay Pohl, Josh holding it down on ProView. You can hear us again if you missed some of the show. They replay it at 3 o'clock, Comcast Channel 26. Of course, Michael holding it down, enjoying it because somehow, some way, the cockroaches of the NFC East, Dallas Cowboys, still clinging to life with their victory over San Francisco. We got the Jim Rome Show coming up next. Dan Patrick Show at 1. We got the Sports Bar Carlisle Trujillo at 3 o'clock. Monday Night Football right here as well, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Of course, Lobo basketball over on News Radio KKOB. Everybody, Meta World, peace and love. Stay safe. We'll talk tomorrow.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did. Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay,
I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it.